I wanted to show you a color chart that I made. This is using all the yellows on my watercolor palette, including yellow ochre and burnt sienna, and then I'm mixing them with all the blues that I have in my color palette. And you can see that I'm using even this color, which is, it's called cobalt teal. It's very greeny, but already. But when you mix it with other yellows, it makes some really interesting greens. I'm not quite done with the chart. I still have these 2 rows to go because I wanted to show you the process of what I do. So what I do is I choose the colors and label them first, and then I paint just a block of each color on the top and on the side. So all the yellows go across here, all the blues go down here. And I start by painting this row first. So what I've done is I've painted each rectangle with this nickel quin gold first. Okay, so that means I mix a big pile of that color up on my color palette, and then I paint a rectangle of it all the way down, and then I do the same with the bismuth yellow. I painted it all the way down. Okay, same with cadmium lemon yellow, same with cadmium yellow medium and gamboge, and you can see here is the yellow ochre, the first layer, and the burnt sienna, the first layer. And then what I do is I go across, I clean my palette, I start with the first blue that I'm going to use, cobalt teal. I mix a generous puddle of that on my palette, and then I layer it on top. Once these yellows have all dried, it's sort of a two-part process. You layer them on top, and then what I've done is I've added a little extra color of the top color, meaning the blue, on one side, so I can see what a heavier mix would do if I were to layer more of that color on top of the yellow. So I'm going to finish up this row, and you can see how I do it. So I'm going to start with finish the cobalt teal, and then I'll move down to cerulean and then cobalt blue and so on. So I'm getting some clean water. I'm pulling from the cobalt teal place on my watercolor palette, making a puddle there. And I'm using let's see, I think this is a 1/4-inch flat brush. This is great for these exercises. And I save these so I can refer back to them later if I'm having color choice trouble, if I'm having a hard time picking out what I want to mix or I want to try something new. It's good to have. So I'm just starting and drawing across this way, drawing a line, make a little more, drawing a lot and drawing down. And then I'm tapping to impart some more of that color on top. Okay, and I'm going to let that dry, and then the next color is cerulean. I am not really crazy about this cerulean blue. I don't remember who makes it. Cerulean blue, I had one when I was younger, and the maker changed the formula, and I really liked the way it used to be. So I'm always sad when I use this color. I don't use it very often. All right, here. This is going on top of the yellow ochre. And here it is going on top of the burnt sienna. You can physically mix them before you put them on the color palette if you want to. I find that this is quicker, and I like playing and having a little variation in the amount of paint that goes on the second layer. So for me, that works. Okay, now we're going to cobalt blue, which is love this color. Let's see here. The other interesting thing that doing this does is it gives you a chance to see how the paints look when they're dry, how they settle on the paper. Some are more granular than others, and it'll show you what the texture of your paper will do once painted. So cerulean, I'm sorry, cobalt blue. Just drag across. Finish that corner, pull it down. You can even pull up again. And I just tap some color in. All right, the next color is French ultramarine blue. There are so many greens out there, and there are so many greens that you can purchase that are already, you know, just a green color like sap green or viridian. But given that there are so many blues and so many yellows, there makes it, you know, even better for making interesting combinations. Why limit yourself? And these are good forever. You know, you can keep these in a folder, pull them out when you want to sort of do some investigating about color and what you're going to choose for your painting color palette. Okay, the next is phthalo blue, which is very, very potent. It's very, it covers well. It takes just a little to change another color, so less is more sometimes with this color. Unless it really makes really, really brilliant, deep, deep blues. It's really a nice color to have on the color palette. You can see I don't even have to really reload my brush because there's so much, well, maybe a little, there's so much pigment in this, so much coloring power in this pigment. Really cool. All right, and the last color is Manganese blue, which is also one of my favorite. It mixes so well with other colors. It's a bright blue and also pretty powerful color. I kind of didn't measure very well, so it kind of runs off the page. I think I would have liked to have left a little space at the bottom, but there we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to let that dry, and you can do this with any color. You can mix blues and reds. You can mix, you know, purples and reds and just see what kind of colors you come up with. You could also, you know, do complementary colors, which is another exercise that I really encourage people to do because you have a color palette. It's limited, and I'm going to put that in air quotes, it's limited, but you can get so much out of it, especially if you buy really nice quality pigment. So give it a try.